What's up, my people? Welcome to the Live Wide Open podcast. I'm your host, Randy B. Ramirez, also known as Wide Open Randy, and I'm here to serve anyone that's looking to level up their life from the current situation. This show is dedicated to helping raising the bar for all the motorsport enthusiasts out there, those who want more out of life, those who want to do more, those who want to be more, those who love the thrill, the joy, and the connection of what these high performance engines bring into our lives. My friends, because holding it wide open is what we do. Being a great freaking person is who we are, and living our lives to the fullest is the lifestyle that we choose. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing how finding the time to do the things that truly light your freaking soul on fire is the same thing. That's the formula, actually, to help you avoiding the burnout that a lot of high performers experience. And if you're a high performer, you know that burnout is something that we battle with. I don't know if you're watching right here, have you ever experienced burnout for yourself? Like I have. I've gone through a couple iterations of burnout. And what I've learned is that typically when you're friggin' deep into the burnout, you never realize it until you're fucking head deep, until you're covered all the way up, until you're like screaming like, oh my God, what's going on here? What's going on? And by that time, it's usually like, fuck, it's too late. Because what happens is that what I've noticed is when you start feeling burnt out, you just stop caring, you stop thriving, you stop like really having this will to freaking over exceed. And fucking burnout feels whack as fuck. It really does. Man, like I said, I've gone through a couple iterations of burnout and it really sucks. You know, I come from the background of working for a general contractor, building high-rise residential buildings, and that workload, that schedule is very high-paced, is very high-stressed, is very high deadline oriented. And so what happens is that for high performers, if you do good in your job, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because when you do good, obviously you move up in the ranks and you get paid better, you get the promotions, you get the pay increases. But what comes with that is, what I've noticed is that when you're a high performer and you do good and you perform good and you solve a lot of problems, well, what happens is that they put you on all the troubled jobs, typically jobs that require a lot of freaking effort from yourself. And so they always would tell me, yeah, you'll get it on the next one. You'll take a chill break on the next one. But what happens is that you fucking got one job out of the hole, and then you're doing good. So they're like, oh, we need your help over here. Like, help us with this job. And before you know it, you're going from one job to another job to another job, freaking working massive amount of hours, doing your best to get ahead. That's when burnout happens. And so for me, in my case, and a lot of the high performers that I've talked to within the industry also, whenever you feel burnt out, whenever you're in the grind, whenever you're in the mix of things, typically you're always like, man, fuck exercise. I don't have time for that shit. You're always like, man, eat healthy. Oh, right now I'm in a hurry. Let me just pick up some fast food on the way to where I'm going, because time is of the essence. And typically you're always rushed for time. You're always behind the eight ball because you have so much work going on. You have so much workload. You have this constant feeling of like, man, I can't catch up. My workload just keeps increasing. I have this mountain high of paperwork or work or whatever it is for you. And then you're just like on this freaking hamster wheel of like never getting the progress that you want to get done. And what happens is, what I've noticed is that when you're in the mix of that, you're walking around like a fucking ticking bomb of emotions ready to explode. And if you're not careful, these fucking bomb of emotions will explode at the wrong freaking times. I know it because it's happened to me. Freaking embarrassing moments, and you just lose your cool, whether it be you blow up from anger, or maybe you blow up due to the stress and you start crying, or you blow up versus on someone that doesn't deserve it. Like, your emotions become very sporadic, and you can't control them because you're constantly under the pressure. And I don't want this to happen to you. This is why the purpose of why I made this episode, because to help you avoid the burnout. If you're a high performer, if you work a lot, here's going to be some strategy, a big strategy that you can implement it in your life so that you can help avoid the burnout. And so all high performers go through this in a certain part of their time, and throughout their work life, throughout their careers, throughout their. If you're someone who is out to get ahead, so if you're someone who's out to achieve, if you're someone who's out to do more, then putting in the work is part of the fucking recipe. And putting in massive action, massive work is what needs to get done in order for you to get ahead. But what comes with that is that it's very difficult to maintain those short sprints, those short periods of exertion of more than the normal type of work. And what happens is why it's so difficult to maintain those short sprints is because you're doing more than the average. You're doing more than the normal. You're working long ass days, doing what you can to get ahead. And what happens is that if you're not careful, if you go into the burnout zone, typically it's always followed by this time frame of feeling idle, this time frame of having no drive, this time frame of being just like, man, fuck this shit. Like, this is not worth it. And so if you go through that, you're stuck on this cycle of like ups and downs, but very, very highs and very, very lows. And that shit is whack. That doesn't help you with the long-term game. It doesn't help you stay consistent. Because a true motherfucking high performer, I'll say that again, a true high performer, to be a true high performer, what this requires you is for you to be able to provide, for you to be able to put out your output of work needs to be able to be sustained for long periods of time. Like, anyone could do a short burst. Anyone can work hard for a week, for a month, maybe even a quarter, which that's pretty long out there to do a long sprint. But a true high performer is able to sustain high periods of high performance with, at the same time, maintaining balance within their life, having their relationships balanced, having their passions balanced, having their well-being balanced, and still being able to produce a high level of work, a high level of performance, a high level of output. That is what a true high performer does. And so, if you've gone through it, I'm here to share that I've been through it too. And if you're someone who's constantly putting in the work, if you're someone who's constantly trying to overachieve, if you're someone who's trying to constantly just do more, be more, well, it could come to where when you're in that period of like, man, have I been putting in too much work? Like, when the mountain of work is is mountain high, we start getting these feelings of guilty, like, man, should I take some time off right now? Like, I don't know, I feel guilty for taking time off because there's so much work out there, there's so much things to get done. And typically high performers are very deadline oriented, very like, they're looking at the bigger picture, and they're looking at, man, if I don't go out this weekend, I can work, and I can get more ahead. But here's what happens with that. If you don't take time off, if you don't take time to cool down, if you don't take time to disconnect, it becomes very counterintuitive for you to stay producing at a high level. And quite the opposite though, like, I was talking about having feelings of feeling guilty for taking time off when you have so much workload. But if you have not been putting in the work, if you've been slacking, if you've been just coasting and just getting by with the bare minimum, then for sure taking time off when you really need to be putting in the time to getting ahead is absolutely counterproductive to your success and to getting shit done. Like, we're here talking about people who put in extra effort, who want to overachieve, who put in the work, who show up early, who leave late. If you're not careful, that path will lead to burnout. And so the purpose of this episode is we ride. Ride more, do more, be more. And I'm not telling you not to work your ass off. I'm actually always preaching that. Put in massive work, put in massive action, get ahead, be the hardest fucking worker in the room. But schedule your time off. Like, when you schedule your time off, and when you've been taking massive action and you're able to schedule your time off, what that does is it becomes the catalyst, it becomes the explosion for you to feel refreshed when you come back to work. And you come back with this let's fucking kill shit type of mentality. You come back with like, man, what else you got? Like, I'm fresh. Like I'm ready. And so when you don't take your time off, it's very hard to sustain that for long periods of time, because you come back and you're tired, you're beat, you're like, man, I've been working nonstop. Like, is this even worth it? Like, you literally fuck yourself in the head, because you start battling the burnout and the emotions that come with it and the feelings of exhaustion that comes with it. And true leaders know that it requires for you to be able to self-assess your situation and see what's going on. If you're not able to reflect, if you're not able to assess what has been working, what has not been working, how you're feeling, how the amount of work that you've been putting in, when was the last time you took some time off for yourself, then you're not going to be able to improve, my friend, because you can't improve what you don't measure. And I might be getting ahead of myself in here, but I learned this. I'm currently right now reading Extreme Ownership. It's a nice book. And I learned there that actually one of the quotes in the book, it says that there are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders. So typically, if we're watching this, you're typically a leader. You're typically a high performer. You're typically someone who wants to do more, who wants to overachieve. And this is why some of the things that we talk about are key to making sure that you're able to sustain your high level of output. And I have no problem saying this. Like, I'm repeating myself multiple times with this throughout multiple episodes, because I want you to see that I'm candid. I want you to see that I want to speak the truth. I want you to see that I have nothing to hide. And what I was about to say before I said that is that I, for one, probably should take a little bit more of my advice that I'm preaching, because it's the complete fucking truth. And now that I've been working from home, I find it even more necessary to have myself on check, to be able to self-reflect, to be able to see, like, yo, when was the last time you took some time off? When was the last time that you relaxed? When was the last time that you went to ride? Like, because, like, I feel like as an entrepreneur, there's so many things, especially starting off, you're wearing so many multiple hats, and you're the person who does everything. And so working from home and not having to report on a Monday to Friday type basis, and being on this whole entrepreneur type spirit, like, my weeks get mixed with my weekends. And when you've been doing this long enough, you're like, holy shit, like, man, you're in the weekend and you're thinking it's a weekday, or you're in the middle of the week and you're like, yo, when did the weekend pass? Because you're constantly working. And so don't let, what's been happening to me is that your days roll over, and your weeks become weekends, and your weekends become weeks. And then before you know it, you're like, oh my God, what's fucking happening? Like, and what has been happening is that I haven't been able to fucking take some time off. I haven't been able to ride. I haven't been able to go to what sparks my soul on fire. And so that was a partial reason. It wasn't the main reason, but it was a partial reason of why I started hosting a monthly motivation Sunday ride. And that's called Moto. I know it's spelled MOTO-vation, when typically motivation is spelled differently. But the motivation rides, I collaborated and I'm partnering with one of my good friends that he runs the page of Miami Rides. And we came together to host a monthly ride. And we're going to be doing these. We hosted one about a week and a half ago. We're going to be hosting one every month. So they're going to be 12 rides in 2024, and the purpose of these rides are to bring the community together, to talk about growth, to talk about life, to talk about how you can improve your riding, to bring like-minded people together who are passionate about riding, but who also want to get better. And I couldn't think of no other person than to collab with better than my good friend. I almost said his name, but I'm kind of keep things for the low right now, and he knows who he is. I don't have to say his name. He actually prefers it kind of this way. But just know that we're working towards bringing the motorcycle community together. And I kind of went on a tangent there, but the reason why we're working on bringing the motorcycle together is because we want to gather like-minded individuals. Typically what I've seen and what he's seen, and it ain't no fucking fake news, it's the truth, and I see it, is that typically a lot of people who like to ride very passionately are unfortunately not the type who want to get very ahead in life. And I used to be there. I was stuck in that fucking mindset of, I just want to ride. I just want to just do what's passion, what drives my passions. But I didn't want to put in the work. I didn't realize that becoming a grown a leader is someone who fucking provides like very good for their family. So the purpose of these rides is to grab people and bring them together with the whole riding aspect, because riding is a big part of it. But before we ride, we want to talk about growth. We want to talk about what are you doing. We want to talk about how you're killing it. We want to talk about what challenges have you had. We want to talk about what wins have you had. We want to talk about what goals you have for this year, because it's very important to bring that to light so that people can self-reflect and they can plan. And so if you're in the South Florida area, my friends, if you're love motorcycles, if you're looking for a reason to network, to meet new people, to have deep conversations about life, to have deep conversations about how you can kill the game professionally and personally, and how you can improve your riding, you might want to check us out. You know, my good friend's page is Miami Rides. You can check my Instagram out. I post things on there as well. We're gonna have the next one coming up. It's either gonna be the 3rd or the 4th Sunday of February. Haven't locked it in yet, but I just gotta get with my friend. And we purposely, and we got a little bit of resistance on this, but we purposely did these on Sunday mornings, early Sunday mornings. We typically meet up around 8 to 8:30. And the reason why we did this is because we want to help those that show up to establish the discipline of getting up early, even on your fucking days off. And that's something, some pushback that I had got from people where it's like, oh man, I wake up early every weekday. And you're gonna make me get up early on the weekends too? And fucking yes, absolutely. That is the purpose of why we did these early. Because we want to help you establish the discipline of getting up early. Because when you're able to lock that in, my friends, all areas of your life start improving. Getting up early is a fucking keystone habit. And what a keystone habit is, for you guys that don't know, a keystone habit is a habit that you implement into your life. That when you implement it and it starts going, it positively affects other areas of your life. Kind of like, let me take a step. It gets derived from architecture. I learned this. I'm a construction professional with the background. So a keystone gets derived from architecture, from the arc in the old days when they built these arcs, right? And so the keystone is the center stone in the arc. And that keystone is held down by gravity and it holds the entire arc together. If you remove that keystone, the entire arc falls apart. And so the keystone becomes your keystone habit, and your keystone habit becomes the thing that freaking positively impacts multiple areas of your life. So if you're able to lock in getting up early every day, that's the hardest part. Getting up is the hardest part. If you're able to lock that in, you're able to start producing more. You're able to start doing more with your time. You're able to start really analyzing on like, man, where am I wasting my time? And it's not, and some days you're gonna be like, man, okay, I got up early. I'm not gonna go work, but I'm gonna go ride. Or today I'm gonna go get a workout in. Or today I'm gonna go spend some time with my family. Or today I'm gonna just spend some time with myself. But when you're able to do this early, instead of just sleeping in all the time and letting the days waste you, it becomes this tactic, this tool, this thing that you use to level up. And a lot of people don't mix that, and it took me a long time actually to realize that getting up early was actually the real boss move. It really is. You gotta be willing to put in the work, man. You gotta be willing to show up. You gotta be willing to purposely schedule your time off. But you gotta be willing to put in the work. That's what it comes down to. If you're putting the work, then I definitely want you to schedule some time off so that you can do the things you love, so that you can recharge, so that you can release some of your stress, so that we can come together as motorcyclists and just grow more. We could ride more. That we could inspire each other. We could talk about life improvement, but we can also talk about how you can improve your riding techniques. You can talk about what has worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. That's really what it's all about. My whole movement is about bringing motorsport enthusiasts together. And within motorsport enthusiasts, we have, for example, motorcyclists, we have race car drivers, we have truck guys who like big trucks, we have guys who like boats, guys who like the mud scene. You know, there's so many different areas of motorsports, and the goal, which is kind of how I did with my friend, is that we're gonna go into different sectors. We're gonna inspire people, and we're gonna lead growth into the community, so that hopefully, with this bigger vision that we have, when you go ahead and you attack certain areas, in the grand scheme of things, we're helping a lot of people, and we're helping a lot of people grow, and we're helping a lot of people evolve, and most of all, we're helping a lot of people just live a more passionate life and do the things that we love, because they ain't bad, they're fucking awesome. And so I want you to, with my shirt, we ride, right? So I want you to ride more, I want you to do more, but I also want you to be more. You know, that is the theme, that is what we do, that is who we are. And with that said, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that, my friends, it's about time you start putting in the work. It's about time that you start thinking of how you can improve. It's about time that you start leveling up. Don't let your time get wasted. Use your time, maximize it, because that's how you grow into the best version of yourself. I'm driving the fucking checkered flag deep into the ground, and I'm calling out all the motorsport enthusiasts out there who want to improve their situation. Let's break free from all this fucking shit that's been holding us back, and let's show the world that they wish they were like fucking us. Those of you who made it to the end, you got yourself a fucking win. And I want to just say that I truly appreciate you for investing your time into the Live Wide Open podcast. This movement is called Live Your Life Wide Open, and helping others improve is the mission that God has tasked me with. We are driven individuals. We're breaking the fucking stereotype, and we're working towards becoming the best that we can be. Join me on this journey while we help as many motorsport enthusiasts as possible to create the best lives that we can imagine. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is WideOpenRandy. And if you felt any type of connection to this content that you just consumed, I ask that you please share it with a friend, or man, even take it to the next level. Post this on your story so that more people can see it and our message spreads. Till then, I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Live life wide open, my friends. Peace.